But despite Trump's reversal, some are still worried he might be encroaching on the Federal Reserve's independence. For more, my colleague Rachelle Akuffo spoke with CGTN's global economic analyst, Saruhan Hatipoglu.
Monetary policy is not conducted the way it used to be because there's a lot of involvement now that's coming from the White House and unnecessary involvement because the independence of this institution is important for the people who occupy that institution. So when the Fed governors hear this talk about the president advising and admonishing, if you will, in tweets as to what needs to be done, I believe that is a factor in their decision. However, they also came out and said it, look, we're not going to do it 4 times because the economy is slowing down. But again, are they behind or ahead of the curve? That's something that we're going to find out pretty soon into 2019. And the other issue is, of course, fiscal policy, infrastructure spending. Is that coming or not? Because if the fiscal policy does not boost the economy, that slowdown that I talked about is going to come sooner.
And what about some of the other headaches? Obviously, we saw that Goldman Sachs was saying that a US-China trade deal could be the biggest economic event of 2019. Obviously, things still in the works as of 2018. What are your thoughts on that?
I do agree that that would be a huge boost. But when we talked about this issue, I always underlined the importance of Federal Reserve. And I talked about the corporate debt leverage in this country. It is extensive. We're looking at 2008 to 2018. The debt to GDP is about 69% going to 70%. 2000 to 2008, before the financial crisis, that ratio was less, 64%. There are a lot of other numbers that we're looking at, $2.5 trillion in corporate bonds and BBB bonds. That's one notch above junk bond. If the economy slows down, there are downgrades. What is going to happen to that is one of my major concerns. Sure, trade policy, trade deal with China is very important. It'll give a boost to the market, but we have other problems that we need to be careful with.
So as we look at some of these problems, how prepared is the U.S. economy to withstand the challenges that it might be walking into in 2019?
I don't think it is prepared. And the reason that I'm saying that is, again, there is a disconnect between policymakers. You look at the White House, and there are some people in the White House who really are seeing all this, and they're trying to do something about it. But there's division there. There's arguments going on in there all the time. We're looking at Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is adamant on taking the punch bowl because of the excessive debt that I mentioned to you. So they're not going to come back and they're going to say, oh, stock market lost another 500 points today. We're going to do something about it. That game is over. It's not going to take place. So this miscommunication, and on top of everything else, the relationship between the monetary officials and the government is not going well. We have a divided Congress. So fiscal policy option or probability is there, but it's lessened compared to 6 months ago. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be optimistic about this. We have a lot of problems that we need to overcome to make sure that the economy is going.
And with a divided Congress, you know that the Trump administration still hasn't pushed through its big infrastructure overhaul. Immigration is still up in the air. Healthcare is sort of a shifting sands. How much harder is it going to be to try and get any of these policies through in 2019?
Very challenging. And we're witnessing that today when there's no agreement between the Democrats and Republicans, as well as with the president and the Democrats in the House. So that by itself is going to be a huge challenge. But I'd like to also address the elephant in the room. We have an investigation going on, Mueller investigation. That is going to conclude pretty early on in 2019. And that is probably going to cause a lot of problems for this administration. And that is going to, again, throw the consumers, investors, and everybody into confusion as to what is going on. So I don't want to bring politics into economics analysis overall, but this issue has gained prominence, and I think it's going to have an impact.